Matt Angle, Democratic Strategist, joining me this morning. Hey, let me just first of all say Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Same to you, Matt. Merry Christmas.
And it is a pleasure having you on all year to spar with back and forth.
Well, it has been fun, and I think that we all have learned a lot, and I have great respect for you and all your listeners.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. All right. Now that we've got all the pleasantries out of the way, let's get down to business, shall we?
Sure.
I want to get into the payroll tax cut, but we'll do that in our second segment. Let's talk a little bit about Rick Perry collecting not only his pension, but apparently his full-time salary, as we're paying Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst about $411 a day to fill in for Governor Perry. This is the way the game is played, right? I mean, this should come as no surprise to anybody. I mean, this is done by any governor running for the presidency.
No, that's not accurate, actually. And the most important thing is it's just the rank hypocrisy of it. You've got Rick Perry traipsing around the country talking about how he wants to cut the pay of members of Congress and reduce the time that they're in Washington. In the meantime, he's got both hands in the pockets of Texas taxpayers, just pulling out money as fast as he can.
And why would you say that? I mean, he is allowed certainly to run for the presidency. That is, by law, something that he can do. Why is it all of a sudden hypocrisy?
Well, first of all, just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right. Secondly, this is a guy who has talked about how his priority is to cut the budget and save taxpayers' money. Meantime, he's a millionaire who is taking a retirement early and double dipping out of the Texas taxpayers' trough.
So is this...
That may be legal, but it's wrong.
Is this any different than the president taking a $4 million vacation when this country is suffering and we're trying to get an extra $40 a month in people's paychecks?
Oh, my goodness. The president's traveling, and that is security. If we're going to start talking about unnecessary expenditures in terms of security, let's talk about the governor traipsing around the country running for president with Texas Rangers, costing Texas taxpayer money.
But again, Matt...
I mean, we shouldn't switch the subject here. What we're talking about is double dipping out of retirement fund, and that's what Rick Perry is doing.
He is not doing anything illegal, though, and I'm not saying that we haven't set this up so that these things can be done. I think they're done by a lot of politicians on both sides of the aisle, but we've kind of set it up so that can be done. So he's not doing anything illegal. You just don't like the fact that he's taking advantage of it.
No, it is. I'm not saying that it's illegal. I think that it's wrong and it's hypocritical. And there's another thing, too, that's important, and this really goes to Texas statutes, is that he was hiding it. The only reason we know about it is because he was forced to disclose it through the federal requirements on disclosure. For example, there are members of Congress that double dip too, and I think that that's also wrong. But we knew about it. They were open to the criticism in past elections. Rick Perry would have never told anybody about this had he not been running for president and had to disclose it.
So, in other words, as long as you're disclosing the double dipping, that's okay. If you feel that somebody isn't disclosing it, then it's not okay. Is that right?
No, I didn't say it was okay. I said it was still, I think, wrong. In Rick Perry's case, it's particularly hypocritical, and also I think there's an added layer of criticism because he was not disclosing it. He was going to hide it.
All right, Matt Angle, Democratic Strategist, joining us here this morning with a spirited discussion about whether the governor is or is not double dipping, and our lieutenant governor is getting $411 a day to fill in for our governor. KTRH News Time is 7:23, and joining me, Matt Angle, Democratic Strategist. We wanted to do just one more little sparring match before the end of the year, and Matt, we do enjoy having you on here, Houston's Morning News, sir.
I enjoy it as well.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the Republicans screwed this thing up so badly. It is just amazing to me. I believe that the biggest screw-up came in the Senate when McConnell didn't appear to have the backbone to try and defeat this 2-month extension of the payroll tax cuts. Boehner, after being excoriated by the Wall Street Journal, acquiesces. And so the Republicans have a lot of egg on their face. But, I mean, 2 months, Matt. I mean, that's not what the president originally wanted. The Republicans wanted to take this thing out a year, but they couldn't come to an agreement.
Well, I think that's exactly what happened. You had both sides come to the middle a little bit, agree to a compromise that neither one of them were crazy about, which was a 2-month extension. And then you have a whole group of people within the Republican caucus, particularly in the House, who don't want to agree to anything. That if it's something that the president can say yes to, no matter what it is, even if it fits within their priorities, they're going to say no. And it put them out on a political limb that they just couldn't stay on, and it broke off and they crashed. I think the most damaging thing politically was to Boehner himself. He comes across as weak, somebody who can't lead his own caucus, and then ultimately can't stand up to the president or to Nancy Pelosi.
Well,
and that's really damaging to him long term.
You know, the Tea Party contingent, which is what you're talking about, I would assume, are beginning to realize that you can't always win in things. But I think that what they were holding fast to was the fact that the House wanted this to go on for a year. They wanted to pay for the unemployment benefits that were extended. They want to pay for this. You know, listen, we're not paying into Social Security. You know as well as I do, this thing's going broke. So I understand why they were holding fast. But you're right. I believe that the Speaker has been damaged by this, and possibly it could shorten his term as Speaker.
Yeah, we got a really good look at kind of the next 12 months as to who you're dealing with. It's interesting to me that people want to talk about Obama being soft. He's a tough guy. I mean, you got Osama bin Laden and Muammar Gaddafi burning in hell, wondering what happened to that soft Obama. And Nancy Pelosi's very tough, and John Boehner couldn't hold her purse in this exchange.
Oh, man, I don't even have the time. I don't even have the time to come back and address those things. But listen, we have next year to get back together so that I can prove to you how wrong you are about at least about Pelosi. Matt, thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, sir.
Same to you, Matt.